Welcome to the revolution. To everyone's surprise, finally, Alec Baldwin is facing justice for his role in the tragic and preventable death of Halyna Hutchins on the set of his movie Rust. Prosecutors have actually announced that Baldwin will be charged with involuntary manslaughter, and absolutely rightfully so. Recent findings show that Baldwin had live ammunition that was found on the set mixed with fake ones, with empty rounds. And then the rest of the film crew, basically what they found was to have a extremely consistent pattern of criminal disregard for safety, which resulted in the death of Hutchins. Now, Baldwin's not the only one who's actually being tried here and has been charged with these things. The armorer on set has also been charged, but we'll get to that in just a minute. The maximum punishment that Alec Baldwin can get out of this is 5 years. That's the maximum punishment. And obviously, even if he gets the maximum punishment, he's going to serve 2 years at some BS celebrity prison where he gets to have his cell phone and watch TV all day. Like, it's terrible to think that is what they're going to give him, is the maximum of 5 years. He literally pointed a weapon on set without checking it, without any proper regard for the safety of firearms, and pulled the trigger, pointing it directly at this woman, which resulted in her death. That's willful negligence. So the fact that 5 years is all they're talking about at this point is disgusting to me. And it only shows that if somebody else was in this case, if there was a bunch of buddies filming a documentary together, and as a result, one got shot and killed on set, you bet your ass, if they're not Alec Baldwin, they're getting more serious charges than this. Absolutely positive they're getting more serious charges than this. And the only reason that this is happening this way is because it's a mainstream set of a movie and it's Alec Baldwin, right? I hope for the family of Halyna Hutchins that, he actually gets convicted of this, which will be, kind of a stretch given how much money is going to go behind his legal defense. But along with Alec Baldwin, the film's armorer, who is in charge of weapons on the set, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, will also face 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, according to New Mexico 1st Judicial District Attorney Mary Carmack Altwiez. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Altwiez. Altwies. Okay. The first assistant director, David Halls, has also been charged with negligent use of a deadly weapon, which is likely to lead to 6 months of probation. This also goes to show that basically the entire crew had some way, shape, or form involvement in this. And then there are so many steps that should have been taken to where this should have been prevented, right? There's no reason at all that this should have happened. But the person who pulled the trigger has a maximum potential sentence of 5 years. Now, Baldwin's attorney, Luke Nikas, has released a statement claiming that his decision distorts Halyna Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice, according to them. Right? BS. But let's be real. The only miscarriage of justice here is that Baldwin will face only 5 years. Right? That's literally the only thing that's wrong about this. The only thing that's wrong about the judicial system in this case is not that they're trying Alec Baldwin. It's that they're only going to give him 5 years when he murdered this woman, a wife, right? Somebody who has loved ones waiting at home for them every single day. And this man's going to get 5 years and she gets put 6 feet in the ground. Now, Baldwin's attorney claims that Baldwin had no reason to believe that there was a live bullet in the gun. But obviously that's no excuse for not checking when you're the one actually pulling the trigger. Right? Baldwin relied on the professionals with whom he worked with, is what the quote says here. But at the end of the day, he's the one pulling the trigger. He's the one with the weapon. He's the one who is pointing it in her direction and firing it. Anybody with any sort of firearms experience or firearms training, and you bet your ass that you should go through firearms training if you're constantly holding weapons in all of these films, would have checked that weapon. Would have had, at the very least, been there when it was loaded, right? And the bigger question here is, why was there any live ammunition on the set to begin with? What was the purpose of that? Why would there be any reason for there to be live ammunition on the set? No reason. No reason at all that should have been the case. Involuntary manslaughter is a 4th-degree felony and is normally punishable by up to 18 months behind bars and a $5,000 fine, but a firearm enhancement. Now, that would have been terrible, obviously, if you just got 18 months. But because of a firearm enhancement on the charges, it could make the crime punishable by a mandatory sentence of 5 years in jail. Now, mandatory is a nice thing to hear there, right? This is the least that he obviously deserves for doing this. Halyna Hutchins' family actually came out in support of this. They said that they support them actively engaging in going after him for these charges. 5 years is a slap on the wrist. Now, if you recall, like, I don't know, it was on the 1-year anniversary of him shooting her, like as if there should be any anniversary there. Alec Baldwin posted on social media and commented, like had the caption that said 1 year ago today, with a picture of her face. Super weird. Like almost like it was like her birthday or something. Like 1 year ago today, I married my wife. No, 1 year ago today, you shot a woman and killed her in front of you. Could you imagine being on this set? Could you imagine watching this gun go off and this woman die in front of you while on a movie set? How tragic for everybody on the set to have witnessed that. And he's sitting here posting on Instagram as if it was a birthday party or something, like 1 year ago today, and then said nothing about it. He got roasted, absolutely roasted in the comments for posting that, but he stuck to his guns on it. He's just a weird character. Weird character. I don't see how they don't convict him for this with everything that's happened here. And again, like I said, just to set an example here, right? Make sure that everybody involved from now on, I don't know, maybe check the ammunition before you fire it at somebody on the film crew.